When the bomb is down and you're in a 1v1, you never want to smoke the choke point. And what I mean by that is, let's pretend that the bomb is planted right here at front triple and I came out of spawn in the retake. Now, since it's planted here and I came from spawn, chances are he didn't go palace, but he could have made it to ramp, Tetris, connector, jungle, anywhere on this side of the map. Now, this is important to note because if I decided and just took a random gamble that I think he's in connector and I decided to smoke him off and then tap the bomb, I would be staring at a smoke and then exposed to all of this side of the map. Now, obviously, you guys probably know that this is bad, but a lot of people don't really understand this concept, because another example here is if I know that he is in ramp 100% and is planted front default or triple, if I decide to smoke off ramp and then tap the bomb, this T inside of the smoke now knows exactly where I am, and he can swing with his peeker's advantage to kill me, because me tapping the bomb and not knowing where he's going to be coming through the smoke makes me have to guess more than what the T actually does. So the way to fix this mistake is by smoking on top of the bomb. So if it was planet front triple and I knew that he was over on this side of the map, me smoking the bomb will draw him out of his position. So if we put ourselves in the T perspective, I have no idea if he's actually defusing the bomb or if he's just tapping and going to play around the smoke. If you're smoking the bomb, you're giving yourself options instead of just relying on him just hopefully swinging out of the smoke, because even if this ramp player doesn't swing out of the smoke when I smoke him, I have to sit here and keep tapping the bomb praying that he's just going to swing out of the smoke, and then I have to guess where he's going to be jumping from out of the smoke, or if he just decides to wide swing me. So if the bomb is planted, make sure you're smoking on top of the bomb instead of smoking where you think he is. When you're in a man disadvantage, you want to find an advantage, and what I mean by that is on Mirage, there's a lot of times where on CT, you might lose a couple mid players like over here towards Cat or over here towards Connector. So if that ever happens, you want to make sure that you're looking for an advantage. Now, one example of this is if we do lose a mid player on the CT side of Mirage, the best thing to do is try to take an isolated duel. Now, if you guys know anything about Counter-Strike, you know most of the time there's always a lurker over towards A, and sometimes there's a lurker over towards B. So if my mid player decided to die, I would want to try to find a duel. Now, in this instance, I would be choosing Palace because let's pretend I was playing under Balk, and I would try to find this lurker and capitalize to make it an even advantage on the scoreboard, making it a 4v4. Now, there may be situations where you're going to look for an advantage, and let's say I do walk into Palace and I don't find that kill. This gives me a lot of information on what's happening in the round, because once I have all of this space, that means the A lurker might be towards ramp, or it might just be that everyone's over towards mid and B and it's turning into a B split where they start smoking in connector and running up cat. Doing these things will help your team win the round, because not only are you going to be looking for duels, but you're also providing your team with information, and with that information, you guys can literally just use the process of elimination to see what is happening in the round, and it helps you dissect what the T's are actually doing. Now, on the T side, it can be a little bit different. I don't really like going for those 1v1 duels if you have the man disadvantage. I think of it more as map control. So let's say, for example, that we're on the T side of Mirage and they do some aggressive play over towards Palace and they kill my teammate that is lurking in this position. Instead of me trying to just run up and take duels while I'm on the T side, I want to take map control from them, because since they just took Palace, which is a crucial part of the map, which gives them a lot of information, I would want to take something over towards A. So something I could do is, you know, smoke top con, molly the left side, and try to take this space on the map, because now it shrinks what they have and little information. Even though the CTs took Palace away from us, we now just took something else away from them, which makes them have to guess a lot harder on what is happening. It's pretty much just a little push and pull system that occurs when you're on the T side. So you want to make sure that if you do go down numbers, instead of just racing around trying to throw a kill, think about it more as map control than you would on the CT side as going for kills and information. Now, when it comes to taking bomb sites, something that I see so often is people just sticking the plant when the site isn't even clear. And this happens a lot on the B side of Mirage, because everyone knows that people love to just sit behind empty pillar or missile pillar, or just run through the market window smoke unannounced and just kill someone planning over towards default. Now, the rule that you guys need to follow is to tap the bomb when site isn't clear. So if my teammates just literally scale and just tuck towards binge, and then some decide to just entry out over here towards cat, something I want to do to help not only my team but also myself is to just tap the bomb. This will make sure that anyone trying to be sneaky towards back site, or anyone that wants to make an aggressive play over here towards market, will try to capitalize on me thinking that I'm planting the bomb, and it will just draw them out and I can get a free kill. Now, you can even think about it the same way over here towards A site, where maybe we didn't clear Firebox or maybe we didn't clear Ninja. I could just run to default and just clear these positions quick, because the sound of that bomb will trigger this player hiding to start to play out the round, and and you will just catch them totally off guard. Now this works on all sorts of maps as well, but you want to make sure that you're doing this if you expect someone in a position that isn't clear, because if you do just decide to stick the plant all the way through, you're literally a sitting duck and such an easy target. So you want to make sure that you're tapping the bomb to draw out players. Now before I get into the next tip, let me tell you about SkinsMonkey. Is a CS2 skins trading site marketplace that provides an instant way to get new skins. The favorite thing about SkinsMonkey is that I can trade skins that I no longer want and trade it for a skin that is equal value. If you use code LouisCS2, you get a $5 bonus on your first trade, and if you want to buy skins, you can get a 30% deposit bonus plus an extra 5% using my code. The link is down in the description. Thank you SkinsMonkey for sponsoring this video. Now when someone's flanking, you have to make sure that you do not die, and there's a few rules that come into this with how to distract and what to do when someone is flanking, but the most important thing is to not die. Let's say for example that I had a teammate push all the way through B apps and he's flanking over here towards ramp, and we know that it's A. A lot of newbies would love to just fight A because they obviously know that it's A since a teammate's flanking. People will start swinging from top stairs and dying to people coming out ramp, and it just eliminates that flank factor that is happening in the round. So the thing that you guys want to make sure that you're doing is first off using any utility. If you have any sort of utility, you want to make sure that you're blocking them on what they're doing. So if I have a teammate that is flanking ramp, I want to make sure that I'm trying to molly ramp. I'm trying to delay their timing on coming out to site just so my teammate can get a little bit closer. Now if you don't have any utility, the best thing to do when you are trying to stay alive is to distract. Now I don't mean by just starting to just spam randomly like this, because that is a dead giveaway. You just want to make sure that you're spamming like common lines. So for example, if I know my teammate is flanking, I just want to just do some like jiggle peeks and spams to just bait out that I'm trying to just get some random shots, and it won't be too obvious, because there's so many times that it's just so obvious that people will just sit here and just try to spam and just try to make so much noise by jumping around, really spamming their whole clip, which is a total dead giveaway on that they are trying to clearly distract. So you need to be subconscious when you're in positions like this, when teammates are trying to backstab someone, that you don't want to make it too obvious. And the other thing is sometimes it's okay to literally just tuck, where if I'm jump spotting ticket and I know my teammate's flanking ramp, I want to make sure that they spot me over here towards ticket when they're coming out. Then I want to jump out to escape and just make it really look like I'm playing retake and waiting for my teammates to rotate over towards spawn, because this might prompt them to try to take this space towards spawn, since they're like, hey, he's clearly playing retake, everyone's heavy towards the B side of the map. And then when they start to push towards spawn, my teammate comes out ramp and then just backstabs two people pushing me spawn, and then it makes the retake so much easier. Now if you're wondering why it's not okay to die, maybe you're a little bit more newer to Counter-Strike, if you do die, let's say over here in spawn when my teammate's flanking, the T's now have all of this space, and now my teammate flanking literally just has ramp while the T's have CT, and it doesn't even matter that we have ramp, because since the T's now have CT, it makes it a lot easier for them to play the post plant. Being a support player is huge, but something that entry should never do is ask for support. So if you're ever behind someone that is entering, you want to make sure that you're supporting them in the best way that you can. Now obviously the best way is with flashbangs, so something you can do is just see the way that they're pathing. So if we were smoking right side A, or maybe we weren't even smoking at all, and let's say my entry fragger killed someone CT and he's just sprinting up towards stairs, something that I can do is identify his pathing and just conform and say I'm flashing over stairs, that he will immediately know that he has to stop for a second, and then he can swing off this flash and take all this space. What happens a lot in games is that entry fraggers will have to ask for a flash, so when they're scaling up towards bench like this, they're missing their timing because they have to sit here, they have to calm, hey, can someone flash over stairs? Yeah, now I'm flashing, and it takes so much time for this to happen. So you want to make sure that you're identifying pathing. Like another example, if someone says, hey, I want to run up cat, something that I can do is literally just say, okay, I'm flashing twice in connector, don't look at connector. So my teammate can simply just scale up cat, not worrying about connector at all, and knowing that he has support. If you can switch your playstyle where you can identify what your teammates are doing and they don't have to ask for grenades, that will eliminate all those weird timings and the pauses in the round, and it will make a lot better flow, and it will also make your entries a lot more confident because they are confident in the support that you're giving them. You guys need to be taking map control during a post plant. So if we smoke right side A on Mirage, something that a lot of people may not do is take map control. A lot of people like to bunker down where they hide in sandwich, or maybe they hide around Tetris or Firebox, and this is really bad because you're giving the CTs all the space. With whatever utility you have left over, you have to be taking map control. So if my team decides to plant on A, let's say for example we plant right here towards default, we need to take CT spawn because that gives us more places to play the post plant, and it also helps us take duels. So something that is very common in pro pro play is that if someone is planning default, two teammates will scale up spawn, and right after the bomb is down, someone will flash over missiles like this, and then they may even flash deep towards spawn. So on that flash, people can clear out spawn, get some info, maybe take some duels, and then it gives them all of this space. Something that you guys may not know is that executes have two stages. So after you smoke right side on A, you guys have to enter the second stage of the execute, which is taking another section of that site. So another example is if we planted front default or front triple, the second step of the post plant is taking this majority of the map, or maybe we smoke top con, molly jungle, and then we have this part of the map to take map control, and it makes the retake so much harder for the CTs because they can't use this part of the map anymore, and if they do want to use it, they have to fight for it before they can even get to the site. Now you're essentially just cutting off what the CTs can take, and it is just a second stage to the execute. It can even be the same thing for B site as well, or if you get to the B site where you kill the cat player and the B player, planning for cat is very important because someone will probably stay in apps. You'll have someone over here towards bench, but if you just literally stay in this area of the map, you almost literally have nothing to fight for. So if you want to elevate your post plants, you want to take things away from the CTs, which is the example of what I'm giving you, and that's taking cat. So the only place that the CTs can really feel comfortable retaking from is out here through market, and you're also getting information on where most of the CTs are coming from if you can take these parts of the maps after you plant the bomb. If you're ever solo on a site, you have to play retake, and the reason is if you are solo, chances are your team is gambling on the other side of the map. So if I was solo on B, it probably means that I have at least 3 or 4 players over here towards A gambling, so I don't want to give my life away on the B site. So the worst thing that I could possibly do is just sit here and jump spot upper B while my whole team's on A, because if they decide to rush B, that means I'm literally running for my life trying to escape their execute, and chances are I'm just going to instantly die. Same thing over here towards A, where let's say maybe my teammates are gambling in mid or over towards B. I don't want to play any close positions because number one, I have 0 support, and number 2, if they start to run out A, I will instantly die, and the T's are free to take any map control, and it's also just a dead giveaway that if I didn't have any support, there's no one else around me helping me on the A site, which would prompt them to maybe go fight connector and jungle or simply just run into spawn. You want to be playing retake so you keep the space away from the T's. So if I was solo on A, I want to be jump spotting ticket, and once I see them take the site, I want to keep control of this area of the map. Now something else over towards B that is very common in pro play is people will actually play retake B from cat, and the reason that we do this is because like we talked about from the tip earlier, where if they start to see a B execute coming in, they can keep this cat control away from the T's, so the post plant is easier for their side on the CT side, where they can retake from market and cat instead of just simply retaking from market because they lost cat. So if you ever find yourself being solo, just back up a little bit and think about the retake for your team and keeping that part of the map, which will help you guys win the round in those post plant scenarios. Now something very important that you low level players might not do is call the economy at the start of the round. Now one way that you can kind of read the economy if you're newer to the game is looking at the loss bonus. So if I'm on CT side and let's say we won 2 rounds in a row, looking at the loss bonus will give me a good idea on how much money the T's are getting. So if they have 1 loss bonus and let's just say they just lost the round, I know they're getting $1,900. Now something else to look for is on the scoreboard, you can see how many players are alive. So if there's more players alive, they're spending less money because they don't have to buy as many guns, which means you know that they have more money stored up. So let's say that the T's survived for 2 rounds in a row where 4 or 5 players stayed alive and they only have this much loss bonus, that they haven't really had to buy for 2 rounds except for utility, so chances are they may be able to buy. Now if you notice that the T's have a low loss bonus and no one is staying alive, you know exactly how much money they have because they have only a little bit more than their round loss bonus. So just being able to identify how many players are alive and their loss bonus will give you a good gauge on the economy that the T's or CTs have. Now this is a rule that I think a lot of experienced Counter-Strike players know, and that is Bogdan. And if you aren't familiar with Bogdan, it is literally just swapping the op to the lowest HP player. Now the reason why you want to do this is, let's think of a situation where I am someone with low HP and my teammate with the op has full HP. If I run into the site as the entry, it's going to take 1 bullet to kill me, which is such a free kill for the other team, which helps them win the round. So I want to be able to maximize the situation where I want to send the player out with the full HP first so he can take a fair duel on someone else that also has either equal HP or a little bit lower, which is a 50-50 duel. So if you are the low HP guy, you need to be asking for the op op, because you want the op so you can sit back and hold angles. Because something that isn't talked about much is that a op is almost like a smoke, where it's essentially just blocking an angle. So if my teammates want to run out towards the A site, and let's say I have low HP, I say, yo, can you Bogdan? He gives me the op. I can just hold spawn for them, and they don't have to worry about it at all, because I'm essentially blocking it with my op. Because if anyone does decide to peek me, I can simply just shoot them, and I have all of CT control while my teammates worry about taking jungle and connector. So if you ever find yourself with low HP, make sure you're asking for the op and staying back. You want to make sure that you're not really baiting your teammates, but just holding lines that they don't have to worry about. We can do another example over here towards upper B, where I can ask my teammates to Bogdan if we want to go out B, and I can just sit here in apps, hold this market cross, and get free kills on people crossing over towards door, or anyone trying to take a duel onto site or even onto me, and I can just hold this, or I can even just hold cat as well. So if you have low HP, you want to make sure you're not just running out and giving your life away, because it's actually more valuable to hold angles in the back than simply just running out. And we can even say the same rule applies with their rifle as well. And this is something that Nifty taught me a long time ago, is that if you have low HP, you are just running out and simply just dying to one bullet. It's a lot better that you sit in the back and try to play off your teammates, because if I have a teammate with full HP, run out entry middle site, and I swing balcony while he's entering, someone empty pillar is going to peek this guy rushing him, and I can simply just sit here and hold this angle and frag on this guy, and now we have the main advantage because I didn't just run out wasting my life with the low HP. Now if the bomb is ever planted and you hear the CT tap the bomb, you never want to wide swing, because most of the time CTs are tapping to draw you out of your position. So the thing that you want to do is jiggle. So if I have the bomb planted right here back triple and I'm playing a palace and I hear the bomb tap, I just want to jiggle my shoulder. Now when you jiggle peek, you want to make sure that you're not overexposing and actually seeing the angle. The way you know you're jiggle peeking correctly is by not seeing the angle at all. So if I want to jiggle peek triple, I want to go to about right here where I'm not really seeing triple at all, and I know my shoulder is just showing. So doing jiggles like this will be good. Now the reason why you want to jiggle is because, like I mentioned, a lot of CTs will tap to draw out where the T is trying to play the post plant, because most of the time you're picking a position that is unknown to the CT. So you simply jiggling might give away your position, but you're also playing mind games as well, because when you're sitting here jiggling, the CT doesn't actually know if you're going to peek or not. So when you sit here and jiggle, you might see that there's no wires on the bomb, or maybe he decides to shoot, and then after that happens, you want to make sure that you tuck. Now when the CT taps the bomb, you want to count to 3 seconds. So when he taps, you mentally count to 3 seconds. You can hit another jiggle if you want, and if you see him on this jiggle, that's when you swing and hit him with a kill, and you won't have any time to defuse. Now a lot of good players will sit here and just keep jiggling, where they hear the tap again, they'll jiggle again, and they just keep playing with this guy, making sure the CT doesn't know if you're going to actually swing or not. Now something that is never spoken about is team play, and if you don't know what team play is, it's simply just watching something that your teammate isn't. And this is very important on retakes or on T side when you're entering. So if I'm entering over here towards A, or I want to scale towards bottom connector, something that I want to make sure that I'm doing is having a teammate watch positions that I'm not. So it's pretty much a buddy system where I would be scaling like this towards the site, pretty much just scaling close stairs, and then once I get here, I'm going to switch to look over here, and then my other teammate is pretty much scaling with me, just looking at this position here, making sure that I'm not getting swung, because I'm scaling clearing sight. I can't hold this position at all, which tells my teammate that he has to hold it for me. And then once I turn this corner, this is when he would switch and start clearing things that I didn't clear. Now team play is very important, because we can even use the same example like over here towards cat, where if I'm entering towards cat and running up, I can only look what's in front of me, so I need someone behind me to pretty much hold or clear angles that I can't clear. So when I'm running up towards cat, I'm going to have a teammate that is on my butt, just looking behind me and pretty much just watching my six, is what they would say in the military. So if someone does decide to peek me entering up cat, my teammate is here to just simply capitalize on that frag, and then I can just run up for free, not having to worry about any other angle. Now you guys need to use your mic inside of Counter-Strike, because it is essential to win your games. If you're someone that doesn't use your mic, you're probably just some shy person, but you guys cannot worry about being shy, especially in a game like Counter-Strike, because using your mic is simply just calling callouts. If you don't feel like talking, or you don't feel like you don't really want to play, but you hop on the game anyway, in reality, you should probably just hop in deathmatch instead, where you don't have to speak, because it tilts a lot of people when you're not using your mic. So you want to make sure that when you are playing, you're using your mic, and the minimum thing you have to do is just give callouts. So if you're on CT side and they, maybe start to smoke A and you see them running out A, simply just call, they're coming A. Or if, you run out towards A ramp and you die to someone under Balk, all you have to comm is one under Balk. Simple comms like this aren't really a hassle, and if you think they are, then you're simply just a lazy person. So when you are playing this game, make sure you're using your mic and at least doing the bare minimum so your teammates can have a good, enjoyable experience, and just stop being selfish if you don't feel like you want to talk, because Counter-Strike is a team-based game, so you want to make sure that you're also helping your teammates play the game by being a good teammate. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you guys check out this video on 10 CS2 mechanics you can abuse to win more games.